everyone, here's a closer look at the blanket that I'll be making today. The border has 8 different rows, and then the blanket within itself has 10 repeating rows throughout. It's a really simple pattern. It is a multiple of 3 plus 2, and it has popcorn stitches within the blanket itself, half double crochets, smaller popcorn stitches, and then the border has double crochets and pom-pom stitches and slip stitches. All right, coming up next is the materials that I used to make this blanket. These are the materials that I used to make this blanket. I used Stylecraft Special Double Knit Yarn, and it recommends a 4mm crochet hook. It's 100% premium acrylic. It's 295 meters and 322 yards. And it is the shade of Soft Peach, and it is 100 grams. And then I used 5 balls of this yarn, and then it recommended a 4mm crochet hook, and that is the size of crochet hook that I used. And then I also used 4 stitch markers. All right, let's go ahead and get started. To get started, make your slip knot. And then we're going to chain 134 chains. I'll show you the first 10, and then you can make the remaining on your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is how it should look. Continue until you have 134, and I'll see you right back here. I have my 134 chains, and now go ahead and add one more, and that one more chain will count as a single crochet that rests on top of this 134th chain there. So now in this next chain, which is the 3rd chain, after we've added that plus 1, do one more single crochet. So now with that plus 1 and then this next single crochet, we have 2 single crochets in a row. Now in this 4th chain, we're going to do our first popcorn stitch. So to do that, do 3 double crochets in that same stitch. And now pull your hook out, and right here, these 3 double crochets that we just did, in that very first double crochet, insert your hook right there, and then grab your yarn and then just pull it through. And then do 2 single crochets in a row. Now I just want to point out that we are on the back side of the blanket right now. Whenever you're working on a popcorn stitch row, you'll be on the back side of the blanket, so it's easier to see them when you turn your work over the other way. Now back to the pattern. So for row number 1, the pattern will be 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets and a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets and a popcorn stitch. So this is what this whole row will be. So now we've just done 2 single crochets, so now we'll do another popcorn stitch. So that's 3 double crochets in that same stitch. And then again, take your hook out, insert your hook in that first double crochet right here, and then grab your yarn and then pull it through that first double crochet. And now 2 single crochets in a row. Then I'll do one more popcorn stitch row with you just to make sure you have it. So that's 3 double crochets in a row. And then take your hook out in that first double crochet, insert your hook, grab your yarn and pull it through. So again, this whole row will be 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets and a popcorn stitch. So continue to follow this pattern all the way to the end of this row, row number 1, and I will show you how to finish this row and how to start row number 2. I'm at the end of row number 1 and I just have 2 chains here left to do. So I just left off with my final popcorn stitch, and then we're going to finish these last 2 chains with a single crochet, since the pattern was 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch, and 2 single crochets. Now the beginning of this row should match the end of this row, where the beginning of this row was 2 single crochets and the end of this row is 2 single crochets. And now, rather than chaining and turning our work like you traditionally would, just turn your work first and then chain. The reason why we'll do this is just because it makes that final stitch that we're going to do on the coming rows a lot easier to see. So for this one, for row number 2, chain 1. Now this chain 1 will count as a single crochet right on top of this stitch right here. Now in this next stitch, do a single crochet. Now for row number 2, in every single stitch, just do a single crochet. That's what this whole row will be, is just a single crochet into each stitch. So just continue to follow this pattern of doing 1 single crochet into each stitch. Follow this pattern all the way to the end of this row, and I will show you how to finish row number 2 and how to start row number 3. I'm at the end of row number 2 and I just have a few single crochets left to do. And I'm on the very last stitch here. Don't forget to do this one because it doesn't really look like a stitch belongs there, but one does. And then if you ever have a question, if you have the correct number, you can always just count 134 stitches and just make sure that you have the right amount. And that way you know if you need to add one there on the end or not. Okay, now on to row number 3. So to start row number 3, chain 1, and then again, turn your work first before chaining. It'll just make it easier when you come back around to see that final stitch that you need to do. Now for this row, we're going to do a popcorn stitch row. So that chain 1 that we did counts as a single crochet right here on this stitch. Now in this next stitch, do a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, a single crochet. So we're doing 4 single crochets in a row. That chain 1 counted as one of them again. And now we're going to do a popcorn stitch in this 5th chain here. So that's 3 double crochets. And then insert your hook in that first double crochet. Grab your yarn and pull it through. And now the pattern continues like with that first row, with doing 2 single crochets in a row. And then a popcorn stitch with 3 double crochets. And again, insert your hook in that first double crochet, grab your yarn, pull your yarn through, and then do 2 single crochets in a row. So this is how this whole row will go, where you're doing a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch. So continue to follow this pattern all the way to the end of this row. And I'll finish this last popcorn stitch here with you. So continue to follow this pattern all the way to the end of this row, and I'll show you how to finish this row and how to start row number 4. I'm at the end of row number 3, and we have 3 single crochets left to do there at the end. So I'll do them here with you now. And then 1 more single crochet, the 3rd one right here on this corner stitch. And so this ending was different than the start. At the start we did 4 single crochets, and at the end we're only doing 3. So again, turn your work before chaining. And now we're going to do chain 2, and this whole row is going to be half double crochets. So this chain 2 counts as a half double crochet, so it counts for it right here on this stitch. So in the next stitch, do a half double crochet. And then again in every single stitch, do a half double crochet. So this is how this whole row is going to go, row number 4. And then also rows number 5 and 6 will be half double crochets as well. So we're just going to do 3 repeating rows here. Now I will show you how to finish this row and how to start the next row. And you can do these 3 rows on your own, and I will meet you back here for row number 7. But again, I'll show you the end of this row first before I send you on your way for row number 7. I'm at the end of row number 4, and I just have a couple of half double crochets left to do. Now it looks like I just have 1 stitch, 1 half double crochet left to do here, but I actually have another one right here in that chain 2 spot. So if you're ever questioning that if you have the right number of stitches on a row, you can always just count 134 and just make sure that you have the correct number on each row. And now on to row number 5. To start row number 5, turn your work over and chain 2. Now again, 4, 5, and 6 are just repeating rows of half double crochets. So this first chain 2 counts as a half double crochet right here in this stitch. Now the next half double crochet will start right here. So just continue to do a half double crochet in each stitch. And then the end of this row will just be a half double crochet. And then when you get to row number 6, you'll just turn your work over again, chain 2, and then do each stitch as a half double crochet. So continue to follow this half double crochet pattern all the way for rows 4, 5, and 6, and then I will see you right back here for row number 7. I just finished row number 6. Now I'm going to turn my work this way, and again chain after you've turned. So for this one, chain 1, row number 7, chain 1. And for this row, we're going to do, this is going to be a popcorn stitch row. Now the popcorn stitches are going to be smaller than they were from when we did the popcorn stitches when we first started. So for this one, this first chain that we did counts as a single crochet, so that counts for this one here. So in this next stitch, do a single crochet so that we have 2 single crochets in a row. And now we're going to start our popcorn stitch. So like I had mentioned, we're going to do smaller popcorn stitches than when we first started. So rather than doing 3 double crochets, we're going to do only 2 double crochets for this row for the popcorn stitches. But everything else is the same. Pull your yarn up, insert your hook in that first double crochet. So you can see that I've inserted it there in the first one out of 2. Grab your yarn and then pull it through, and then do 2 single crochets in a row. And then a popcorn stitch again. So this whole row is going to be 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch, 2 single crochets, a popcorn stitch. It's a repeat from row number 1, other than these are smaller popcorn stitches. So for row number 1, we did 3 double crochets for the popcorn stitches, and this one we're only doing 2. So and then again, do 2 single crochets. And then a popcorn stitch with 2 double crochets in it. So continue to follow this pattern for row number 7 of 2 single crochets and a smaller popcorn stitch. And you can see on the other side here, it's a little smaller than the ones from when we first started. So continue to follow this pattern all the way to the end of this row. And I'll show you how to finish this row and how to start row number 8. I just left off with my last popcorn stitch for row number 7. I have 2 stitches left to do, and there'll be a single crochet in each of those stitches. So the end of the row matches the beginning of the row, which is the beginning of the row was 2 single crochets and a popcorn stitch, and now the end of the row is a popcorn stitch and 2 single crochets. Now on to row number 8. Turn your work over and chain 2. This row is going to be a repeat from rows 4, 5, and 6. For rows 4, 5, and 6, we did half double crochets. So the next 3 rows now will be half double crochets. So rows 8, 9, and 10 will all be half double crochets. So this chain 2 counts as a half double crochet right here. That's the first one. Now the next one will start right here. And then again, just every single stitch is a half double crochet. So continue to follow this pattern of doing a half double crochet on each stitch. And then again, rows 8, 9, and 10 are a repeat from rows 4, 5, and 6. So after you get to the end of this row, finish off with a half double crochet, just like every single stitch, turn your work over, chain 2, and then start the next row with doing each stitch as a half double crochet. So continue to do half double crochets until you get to row number 10. And then once you get to row number 10, all it is just a repeat from what we've already done. It'll be a repeat, it starts over again from row number 1. So I'll see you right back here after you finish row number 10, and I'll show you how to start row number 11 and how to start this repeating pattern over again. I'm at the end of row number 10, and I just have a couple of half double crochets left to do to complete the row. And now you've seen all 10 rows. And I'll show you, so these 10 rows are going to just repeat themselves now throughout the rest of the blanket, but I'll show you how to start this first row again. So to start the first row, after you get done with row number 10, turn your work and then chain 1. And then this first chain counts as a single crochet, so in that next single crochet, do a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, that'll be the popcorn stitch. So do 3 double crochets in a row. and pull your yarn through, and then 2 single crochets after that. So you should know how to do the rest of this row. And so like I said, these are the 10 rows, and they'll just continue to repeat themselves. So I'll send you on your way now until we get to the border. So for the border, you'll do 113 of these rows, and then we'll start on the border. So once you get to rows 110, the blanket will stop right here on this half double crochet row. And then you'll need to do these 3 rows, the popcorn stitch row, the single crochet row, and then the popcorn stitch row. You'll need to do those 3 rows in order to finish the last 3 rows to get to 113 before we start the border. So the start of the blanket will start with these 3 rows, and then the end of the inside of the blanket will be these 3 rows again. So continue to do these 10 rows in a row all the way until 113 rows, and I'll see you right back here for the border. I'm on the last row getting ready to turn the corner. I just have a few more stitches left. I have 3 single crochets left to do after that last popcorn stitch. So now I'm ready to start the border. So turn your work over to the other side, and now this is the side that we'll be working on for the rest of the time. Now for this side, chain 2. And this whole row is going to be half double crochets. So this first chain 2 that we did counts as 1 half double crochet. Now in each stitch after that, just do 1 half double crochet into each stitch. Oops, I was trying to do a double crochet there. Just make sure you do a half double, not a double like I just did. So continue to just do half double crochets all the way to the end of this row, or all the way to the end of this side, I mean. So I'll show you here. So continue to do your half double crochets all the way until you get to the first corner here, and then just stop just short of the first corner, and then I will show you how to turn the corner, and then we're going to start on this side of the blanket. So I have 132 half double crochets so far on this first side for the border, and now we have 2 stitches left to do. So in each of these we're going to do a half double crochet. So this is 133 half double crochets now, and then in that very last stitch where it's 134 half double crochets, this one will actually be our corner stitch. So do a half double crochet in it, and then add a stitch marker to it so that it just makes it easier, so we keep track for when we come to this corner stitch on the next row. And now on to the next side for row number 1 for the border. So in that same stitch that we just put that half double crochet into, do another half double crochet in it. Oops. Now for this whole side, we're going to be doing half double crochets also. And what we're going to do here is do a half double crochet into each row. So how the rows are is we'll go by doing 10 half double crochets in a row, just to organize it easier, and so you're able to keep track easier. So for right here, we had one row that was a popcorn stitch row, and then the row in between them was the single crochet row. Then we had another popcorn stitch row, and then we had 3 half double crochet rows in a row, and then another popcorn stitch row, which was that smaller popcorn stitch. And then we had 3 half double crochets in a row. So with all of these rows, that equals 10. And so what we're going to do on each of those rows is do a half double crochet. So on this first row here, do a half double crochet there right up on the edge here, right where that row is. So that's 1. And then right here in the center where we did that single crochet, do another half double crochet. So that's 2 half double crochets now. And then right here on that popcorn stitch row, do a half double crochet. So that's 3. And then we did 3 half double crochet rows there. So do 1 half double crochet into each of those rows. And then on this popcorn stitch row, the smaller popcorn stitch row, do a half double crochet into that row. Let me try that again. And then we have those 3 half double crochet rows. So do a half double crochet into each of those rows. So now we've done 10 half double crochets. So this is how this whole side will go. So I'll show you up on this way. So it starts right here, and then it goes all the way down to here, and there'll be 10 half double crochets from here to here. So that's how this whole side will go. There'll be 10 half double crochets from where my index finger is here to where my thumb is. So just continue to follow this pattern of doing a half double crochet into each row, just doing in segments of 10 just to make it easier for organization. And then I'll meet you all the way to the corner here. So just stop just short of the corner, and I will show you what to do at the corner, and then we'll start on this side. So I'm right here at the end of this side, and I have 3 rows left here. So do a half double crochet into each of those rows. And then in this last stitch here, add 1 more half double crochet. And now onto this side of the blanket, so turn your work this way. Add 1 more half double crochet in that corner stitch there, and then this stitch will count as our corner stitch. So if you have stitch markers, it would help to mark it just to make it easier for the next row, so you just know what that corner stitch is. Okay, now onto this side of the blanket. So for this one, whoops, mark it in the wrong spot there. Maybe got in the wrong spot. Okay, so for this side of the blanket now, just do 1 half double crochet into each stitch along the whole side. So I'll do a few here with you. So we just left off here in that corner stitch, so do the next one, the next half double crochet right here. And then just a little tip, if you want to hide any of these extra pieces of yarn that you have from previous balls of yarn that you've been using, you can always just kind of like rest it on the top here of your work, and then just work your stitch around it to hide it. And then that way you can hide your extra pieces of yarn. Then they're all done when you get done with the blanket then. So just do a half double crochet into each stitch, just like I'm doing here. So continue to do a half double crochet into each stitch all the way to the end of this side, and then stop just short here on the side, and then I'll show you how to turn the corner here, and then we'll work on our final side. So I'm right at the end of the side here, and I just have 3 stitches left to do. So do a half double crochet into each of those stitches, and then in that very last stitch, just like we had done on the opposite side from this one, add a stitch marker to it. So this will be our corner stitch. And now to get started on the final side. So for this side, it's going to be just like we did on the opposite side, where we're doing 10 half double crochets in a row. So, but before we get started with that, add 1 more half double crochet into that corner stitch right where we just did that last half double crochet into, because we need to increase 1 half double crochet on this side. Okay, and then now let's go ahead and get started with that 10 in a row. So for the start of that will be here. So we've got 1 half double crochet here on this popcorn stitch row, and then we've got a half double crochet right here, right where that single crochet row was, a half double crochet right here where this popcorn stitch row is, so that's 3. And then we've got 3 half double crochet rows in a row here, so that's 3 more, so that's 6 half double crochets. And then right here in this popcorn stitch row, the smaller popcorn stitch row, a half double crochet, so that's 7. And then 3 half double crochet rows in a row, do a half double crochet into each of those, so that makes 10 half double crochets on these segments. So I'll show you here with the blanket up this way. So it would be from here to here, right where my fingers are. That would be 10. The next segment would be right here from where my index finger is to my thumb is. So that would be 10 all on this side. So we'll just keep doing the half double crochets there. And again, I just wanted to remind you, after we had just done the stitch marker, add 1 more half double crochet there, and that won't count as our 10 that we're first starting off with. So now we're going to start off with these 10 right after that extra one that we added. So I'm going to put 1 right here in line with this popcorn stitch row. So that's 1. Do another one here where the single crochet row is. So that's 2. And then do another one right here where this popcorn stitch row is. Oops. So that's 3. And then we've got these 3 half double crochets rows in a row. So do 1 half double crochet into each of those rows. So now we've got 6 half double crochets. Now we've come up here on this popcorn stitch row. So do a half double crochet in that row. That's 7. And now we've got 3 half double crochet rows in a row. So do a half double crochet into each of those rows. And then it just starts over again with doing 10 in a row. So continue to follow this pattern all the way here to this last corner. And I will show you how to turn the corner, and then we'll start row number 2. We'll start going this way, row number 2 for the border. I'm in the final corner for row number 1 for the border. I've left off with doing a half double crochet in each of these half double crochet rows. And now I have 3 rows left. It's the popcorn stitch row, the single crochet row, and the popcorn stitch row. I need to do 1 half double crochet into each of those rows. So this will be 114 half double crochets total on this side of row number 1. And we need 115 half double crochets. So in that very last stitch that we just put that half double crochet into, add 1 more so that we have 115 half double crochets. And now the final thing that we need to do is we need to add a corner stitch. So go ahead and add 1 more half double crochet right there in that stitch that we just added the last 2 half double crochets into. So that last stitch now should have 3 half double crochets in it. And then again, this is our corner stitch, so go ahead and mark it. And now the only thing that's left to do for row number 1 is we need to join it with the other side here. So in this chain 2 right here from, whoops, my hook is in the way there. So from when we first started this row, we did that chain 2. So go ahead and do a slip stitch on top of that chain 2. And then now we've joined that row together. So now on to row number 2. So to start row number 2, chain 2. Now this row is going to be all half double crochets. So we have our first half double crochet right here. Now our next one will start in this next stitch. So just do 1 half double crochet into each stitch. So just continue to follow this pattern of doing 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way across, and then continue to do those half double crochets all the way until you get to the first corner, and then stop here at the stitch marker and I'll show you what to do in the corner, and then we'll start on this side. I'm in the first corner for row number 2 for the border. And so I've made it to the stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and take that out now. And where that stitch marker was, go ahead and add 2 half double crochets to that stitch where the stitch marker was. And now turn your work this way, and then we're just going to get started again with the half double crochets. So in this next stitch, do a half double crochet and into every stitch after that. So all sides will be going the same way, where you do a half double crochet into each stitch, and then all corners will be going the same way, with when you get to that corner stitch where the stitch marker was, just add 2 half double crochets into it, and then just pick up with the pattern again with that half double crochet pattern on each stitch. So continue to follow this pattern for all sides and all 4 corners, and I'll see you at the end of this row and show you how to finish this row and how to start row number 3. I'm at the end of row number 2, and I just finished my last half double crochet on top of the last half double crochet below it. And now the only thing that's left to do is to join the row together. So on this chain 2 right here from when we first started the row, do a slip stitch on top of it. And now to start row number 3, chain 1. Now this chain 1 counts as a single crochet. And now chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now skip 2 stitches, and then in the next stitch, do a single crochet. And then chain 3, skip 2 stitches, and the next stitch, do a single crochet. Chain 3, skip 2, and the next stitch, do a single crochet. Chain 3, skip 2, and the next stitch, do a single crochet. So just continue to follow this pattern of chaining 3, skipping 2, and then doing a single crochet all the way to the first corner, and I will show you how to turn the corner.